Welcome to online class, Standard 9, Social Science, Geography Unit 3, Atmosphere. Learning objectives: to understand the composition and structure of atmosphere, to differentiate weather and climate, to correlate the factors influencing weather and climate, to recognize the classification of clouds, winds, and rainfall. Now I am going to give a small introduction about the atmosphere. Earth is a unique planet where life is found. Can you imagine life on the earth without air? No. The air is essential for the survival of all forms of life. The blankets of air that surrounds the earth is called the atmosphere. Which is known as atmosphere? The blanket of air that surrounds the earth is called the atmosphere. It is held close on the earth by gravitational attraction. Next one is the composition of the atmosphere. What is the meaning of composition of the atmosphere? Atmosphere is a mixture of gases, water vapor and dust particle in different proportions. Nitrogen 78% and oxygen 21% are permanent gases of the atmosphere. What is known as the permanent gases? Nitrogen and oxygen. How many percentage of that air mixed in this atmosphere? Nitrogen 78% and oxygen 21%. They constitute 99% of the total composition of their air. Percentage always remain the same without any changes. The remaining 1% is occupied by argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, ozone and hydrogen. Krypton, xenon and methane are also present in the trace. Water vapor is also found in the atmosphere. Next one is the oxygen is the most important for living organism. Carbon dioxide absorbs heat and keeps the atmosphere warm by insulating the radiation. Nitrogen acts diluent and chemically inactive. Ozone helps in protecting the earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation, which is help to protecting the earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation. The ozone. The solid particles in the atmosphere acts as a nucleus on which water vapor condenses to form of precipitation. What is the meaning of composition of the atmosphere? The mixture of gases. The atmosphere is a mixture of gases and water vapor and dust particles in different proportion. That is known as the composition of atmosphere. What are the other gases are mingled in atmosphere? I am already told. Argon, neon, helium, carbon dioxide, krypton, xenon, methane and water vapor and dust particles. The other composition of that percentage is occupied by argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, ozone and hydrogen. Krypton, xenon and methane are also found present in trace. Water vapor is also found in the atmosphere, which plays an important role in the presiding weather phenomenon. Then what are the other remaining gases present in the atmosphere? Argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, ozone, krypton, xenon, hydrogen and methane. And water vapor also include for these atmosphere. Then oxygen is most important for living organism. Carbon dioxide absorbs heat and keeps the atmosphere warm by insulation and radiation. Then nitrogen acts as a diluent and chemically inactive. Ozone helps in protecting the earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation, which is help us to protecting the earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation, the ozone. The solid particles in the atmosphere acts as a nucleus and the water vapor condenses to form of precipitation. Structure of the atmosphere. The 5 atmospheric layers are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Now I am going to tell about troposphere. Troposphere is the lowest layer of the atmosphere is the troposphere. The Greek word tropos means turn or change. What is the meaning of Greek word meaning of that troposphere? Tropos means turn or change. The layer extends up to 8 kilometers at the poles and to the 18 kilometers at the equator. What is the meaning of the equator? The central line of the earth is known as the equator. It is situated in 0 degree meridian. So, the troposphere layer extends up to 8 kilometers at the poles and up to the 18 kilometers. What is the meaning of poles? The sides, northern side and the southern side. The temperature decreases with increasing height. In troposphere, the temperature is decreases with the increasing of height. Almost all weather phenomenon take place in this layer. What is the meaning of all weather phenomenon? For too much of heat is proposed in this layer only. Hence, it is called weather making layer. Which layer is known as a weather making layer? The troposphere. Why it is known as a weather making layer? Because almost all weather phenomenon take place in this layer. So, it is known as a weather making layer. The upper limit of the troposphere is called tropopause. The upper limit of the troposphere is called as tropopause. Next one is stratosphere. Stratosphere lies above the troposphere. It is extends a height of above 50 kilometers above Earth's surface. Since this layer is a concentration of ozone molecules, it is also refers as the ozonosphere. The stratosphere, otherwise known as a ozonosphere. Why it is known as ozonosphere? Because the concentration of ozone, it's include for the molecules, it also referred as a ozonosphere. The temperature increases with the increase in the height in this layer. Large jet planes normally fly here only. What is that? Jet planes and all normally fly in this layer. Which layer the jet planes normally fly? Stratosphere or ozonosphere. The upper limit of the stratosphere is called stratopause. Next one is mesosphere. What is the meaning of mesosphere? Mesosphere extends between 50 kilometers and 80 kilometers. The temperature decreases with increasing height. The temperature going on decrease with the increasing of height. Why the temperature decrease with the increasing height? Because the sun must not, the central line of the earth equator only receive the sun rays directly. For other part of that areas receiving the sun's landingly, so that decreases of the temperature decreases with increasing of height. If moving on the pole side, the temperature is decreases. Most of the meteors near the earth get burned here. The uppermost limit of the mesosphere is called mesopause. Next one is a thermosphere. What is the meaning of thermosphere? It exists about the mesosphere. It extends to about 600 kilometers. The composition of the gases in the lower thermosphere is more or less uniform. Hence, it is called a homosphere. Why the thermosphere is known as a homosphere? Because the composition of gases in the lower thermosphere is more or less uniform. Hence, it is called a homosphere. The upper portion of the thermosphere has uneven composition of gases, and hence it is referred as a heterosphere. The homosphere and a heterosphere. What is the meaning of homosphere? What is the meaning of a heterosphere? Because the uneven composition of gases is in thermosphere, so that is known as a heterosphere. The uniform gases in the thermosphere, that is known as a homosphere. Here the temperature increases with increasing height. Ionosphere is a layer of the thermosphere that contain ion and free electrons. Radio waves are transmitted from Earth are reflected back to Earth from this layer. Which sphere is known as a radio waves? Thermosphere. Thermosphere is known as a radio waves. Why it is known as a radio waves? Because the radio waves transmitted from the Earth are reflected back to the Earth from this layer. So that is known as a thermosphere, or radio waves are transmitted sphere. The next one is a exosphere. The uppermost layer of the atmosphere is called exosphere. This layer is extremely rare-filled with gases. Why it is known as a exosphere? The uppermost layer of the atmosphere is called exosphere. I am already told what are the 5 atmospheric layers: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Weather and climate. What is the meaning of weather and climate? Weather meaning is the study of atmospheric condition for a short duration over small areas, that is known as weather. Climate means climate is the study of the average weather condition observed over a long period of time for a large area, that is known as a climate. The next one is what are the many factors that influences weather and climate? There are many factors that influence weather and climate: distance from the equator, altitude, nearest to the sea, nature of the prevailing winds, mountain barrier, cold clouds cover, ocean currents, natural vegetation. These are the factors that influence weather and climate. What are the factors that influence weather and climate? Distance from the equator, altitude, nearest to the sea, nature to the prevailing winds. For all these include for the factors influence weather and climate. Next one is distance from the equator. The sun's rays fall vertically on the equator. I am already told the equator is a central line of the earth. It is drawn on 0 degree meridian. So the sun receive the central line of the equator receive the sun rays vertically. The rays are include on the regions always from the equator and near the poles due to the spherical shape of the earth. So the equator side, the tropic of the sun receive that sun rays vertically, so that area is too hot near the poles due to the spherical in shape of the earth. Comparing with the pole side, the equator receive the sun rays vertically, so it is too hot. The pole sides must not receive the sun rays, slantingly receive the sun rays. Poles means north point of that hemisphere and southern part of the hemispheres, that is known as the poles. That's also known as a polar region. Why it is known as a polar region? It's completely covered with ice, because that spheres must not receive the sun rays, so that area is too cold. So comparing with the equator side, the poles also very cold. The vertical rays heat up the earth more than the inclined rays. The place near the equator are warmer than the place which are from always away from the equator. Next one is altitude. What is the meaning of altitude? Altitude means height. Altitude refers to the height above mean sea level. The temperature decreases at the rate of 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer of height. This is called normal lapse rate. Which is known as a normal lapse rate? The altitude, that height of the tower above the sea level, the temperature